Hey, I figured it was about time to start an introduction video. It is International Women's Day, and what better day to jump off and be incredibly awkward on camera and try to get my story out to you. So I made a lot of notes because I tend to get derailed. One of my four little doggos is right there, so I apologize in advance if they make noise, which they probably will because we have roofers next door. So, to introduce myself, my name is Karen. I just turned 40 back in October, and as of today, I have been following a meat-based diet since July 2017. These days, I do lean more towards carnivore with very small amounts of vegetables here and there, not every day. But from July 2017 until November of this past year, I followed a ketogenic diet. Like everybody else in the world, between everything going on with the world and job changes and things like that, there were some fluctuations in there where I kind of fell off and got back on, and that's normal. A lot of people go through different personal things, professional things that might make those kinds of things happen. But alas, I found my way back and am at this point following a meat-based diet in an effort to achieve optimal health. Like I said, I'm 40 years old. I originally started with some metabolic issues when I was 18. That was when I was first diagnosed with reactive hypoglycemia. I would, after pretty much every meal, would have normal feelings and then this intense fatigue that would hit me shortly thereafter. We have a strong family history of type 2 diabetes as well, so that kind of wasn't a surprise, but at that time I was a very normal, healthy weight. Things really were just fine until my second pregnancy when I was 26. At that point, I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes when I had my glucose tolerance test. Again, a very healthy pregnancy. I didn't gain a lot of weight. I was a very healthy weight. However, I had already done a lot of damage to my metabolism just from eating a garbage 20-something diet with lots of frozen foods and lots of fast food and convenience food. By the time I was 28, after I had my second child, I ended up actually being diagnosed as pre-diabetic when I had my blood work done for my job. And at that point, I also was diagnosed with a genetic clotting disorder, factor V Leiden disorder, which increases my risk of developing blood clots. So regardless of that information and regardless of being diagnosed as pre-diabetic, I continued to just eat garbage. I mean, in retrospect, I'm shocked that I wasn't even worse off than I was. I ate lots of fast food. I ate candy literally every day. Every single day. Twizzlers or gummy bears or Snickers, fast food, full fat, full sugar lattes and all of that jazz, like just all of the garbage. So I'm amazed that it wasn't worse. But at that time, up until my early 30s, I would occasionally check my blood sugar at home, but I refused to go and have blood work done because I refused to admit, mainly to my mom, because she was kind of a know-it-all, that I was diabetic. At that point, my fasting glucose was typically in the 120s. After meals, it could jump up as high as 230, 240, depending on what I had. Again, I was really struggling with a lot of that fatigue. And every single day I had to take a nap after work because I was just completely exhausted. At this point, I had developed daily headaches and sinus issues and was taking medicine every single day for headaches. I was snoring to the point where my husband would nudge me and kind of make me roll over because of how bad I was snoring, and my breathing was really bad. I was having a lot of sleep disturbances, including sleep paralysis, which is a nightmarish kind of thing where you feel paralyzed while you're asleep. And it's kind of associated with nightmares at the same time, but you feel like you can't breathe and you can't move. And that was terrifying. And I had those, a few times a month, I would have those episodes. In addition to that, I had constant acid reflux where I was taking omeprazole and chewing up Tums pretty much every day. At that point, I was about 219 pounds, I think was the last time that I weighed myself. I may have gotten a little higher than that at one point, but 219 is my highest recorded weight. And I stand 5'6". So obviously not a healthy weight. At that time I had a body fat percentage caliper check done, and I was hovering around 41% body fat. But the biggest thing was my blood sugar was out of control. My blood pressure, which has always run low the majority of my life, at that point was kind of in the moderate section. I was about 130/90. And the most terrifying thing was my resting heart rate, which on average was about 105. It was always over 100, but 105, 108 was my normal resting heart rate. So if I did do anything strenuous, it would get up into the 170s, 180s. So by this time I was 35, 36, overweight and miserable and metabolically just exhausted. I tried at that point a lot of different things. For a few years, I dabbled with all of the non-fat yogurts and overnight oats and healthy whole grains and, all of the things that are recommended. But I never really got well. I would lose 5 to 8 pounds and then gain it back and fluctuate, but I never felt good. I just always felt pretty lousy. The year I turned 36, I happened to be on Facebook, and I was really excited because I was calorie counting, and I made a post on Facebook about how I had enough calories left over in my day to have 2 glasses of wine. And a buddy of mine commented and said, "I'm going to send you some information. Please don't be offended." And he sent me the link for the Diet Doctor website. And he said, I know that you've got a lot of health stuff going on, and counting calories isn't the way to do it. You have another option. So I kind of was really arrogant and was like, thanks, but no thanks, man. Sorry. And so I ditched him and kept on about it. And about 2 weeks later, I was still miserable. I think I lost 3 or 4 pounds. And so I messaged him back, and I was like, okay, tell me about this thing. Let me know. So we sat and talked for a good while, and he gave me a lot of information on the ketogenic diet. Sent me the links for Diet Doctor and a few different keto groups on Facebook to kind of get my feet wet. And I spent a couple of weeks really reading and watching YouTube videos and trying to fill my mind with as much information as I could so that maybe I could figure it out. And the more I listened and the more I read, the more I thought, maybe there's something to this. And, maybe I can lose a little weight, but at the same time, I'm 35, 36 years old, and I have a lot to live for. I have a husband and 2 kids and 4 dogs, and I got to get it together. So in July 2017, I jumped in both feet and moved on to following a keto diet. At that point, the relief was immediate. The first couple of weeks, I literally was losing about 1 pound a day of just absolute inflammation. And it took no time at all before I felt that fatigue lift. My body felt easier to move. Just in general, my joints felt better. My sleep became better. My last sleep paralysis episode was 2 weeks after I started keto in July 2017, which that was it caused intense anxiety when it came to just trying to go to bed at night because I could feel if it was coming. In addition, of course, dropping a little bit of weight pretty quickly, my confidence and my mood improved right away. And in general, just the fact that I could work all day and come home and not feel exhausted and not feel the need to take a nap and feel rested most of the time was just very foreign. I hadn't felt like that in years. I mean, not in my adult life at all. So at that point, I hit it. So I lost, at that point, probably about 35 pounds within, I think that was probably about 6 months of starting. Of course, my other markers improved right away. My blood sugars, my fasting sugar was 85, 87 in the morning, starting about 2 weeks after I started keto. It never would spike over about 110, 120, depending on what I was eating. And it was pretty spectacular. So that kind of continued for a while. Unfortunately, in 2019, we hit a bump in the road with our business, a lot of stress, and we closed our business, and that brought on all the feelings, and so we my husband and I both kind of ate and drank our emotions, and I put on a good bit of that 35 pounds back. I just completely disregarded keto and was like, I'll do that later. I'm not worried about it. I'm depressed right now. I'm going to eat and drink. That's fine. And unfortunately, I felt pretty crappy, like really quickly. Of course, later 2019, early 2020, we had global things that kind of affected everybody's stress levels. So it took me a little while to get back into the swing of things. These days, I hover normally around 170 pounds. I'm pretty comfortable with my size. I would like to still lose a little bit more weight. But overall, I'm most excited about how I feel. I still have this energy. My body feels better than it has in years. And I am confident. My health markers are amazing. My blood sugar is fantastic. The last time I had blood work done, my triglycerides were, I think, 57, mid-50s. My HDL was 87. My LDL was slightly elevated, but when my doctor called with all of the blood work, she was like, not even worried. Everything looks great, because my HDL and triglycerides were so perfect. I'm planning on having blood work done again in October for my birthday. And at that time, I'm interested to see how my blood work will change with being more animal-based, with less veg and fruit included in my diet. So that brings me to now. Starting in November of 2021, I moved more towards a carnivore diet. Initially, it started as a 30-day challenge. I was just going to do 30 days carnivore. Let's see how I feel. Let's see if, removing that extra little bit of veg, because I was very high protein keto, see how it feels. And like, I can't describe it unless, and I'm sure that people who have done this will understand, but there, just that little bit of removing that plant material, my body felt propelled, if that makes sense. It felt like there was spring in my step, and every movement was just easier. So I've done that. I have slowly tested some different things to see how my body reacts. And there are a good number of non-starchy vegetables that my body tolerates really well. So I do have those occasionally, not every day, and not in large quantities. So a few servings a week at most. I do completely avoid fruit, only because even low carb fruit is acceptable. It just triggers some really intense cravings for sweets. And as a prior Twizzler junkie, it's a hard thing to say no to. So it's easier for me to abstain completely from anything sweet in the way of food. So these days I'm definitely meat-based. I do eat all meats. So whether it's seafood or poultry or beef, I eat a lot of eggs. I do include some dairy, and I also, again, I have that little bit of veg here and there. I drink coffee nonstop. If it's hot, it is black. If it is cold, it has normally a little splash of half and half, and I do use skinny syrup in my coffee if it's iced. And the artificial sweeteners and everything in skinny syrup do not bother me, so I have disregarded that and I don't worry about it. So that's where we're at. My plans for this channel and for my future is to continue with a meat-based diet, and I want to chronicle that for you guys and give you examples. You know, I'll post some what I eat in a day videos, grocery hauls, meal preps, different a day in the life when it comes to the different things and how they're affecting me, or, you know, information that I might think you'll find useful. So that's the plan. I do plan on giving myself some little short-term challenges here and there. That's something I like to do. I like to do meat only for certain periods, or beef only, or no dairy, or no alcohol, or no coffee. Just kidding. There will always be coffee. That will never stop. But yeah, I'm interested to start all of those. I think it's going to be fun. And hopefully, if y'all have stuck around this long, since I've been just babbling absolutely nonstop, hopefully y'all can deal with my awkwardness, because I do not do well on camera. So yeah, I guess that's about it. It's hard to record here. There has been so much chaos in my house today, even though I am completely alone, because I have all these dogs, and that many. And my neighbors are doing a bunch of roof work, so and I have a smoke detector that's dying. It keeps beeping, so I'm sorry for the beeps. But yeah, I just wanted to get on here. International Women's Day. So if you're a woman, know a woman, dating a woman, have a mom, have a sister, girlfriend, daughter, celebrate them today and celebrate yourself. And let's do it. Follow along with me as I continue to change my life. And maybe, just maybe, it'll change yours. Have a good one.